Let's start with that Friday night game in Brazil. It is the Packers technically at the Eagles, who are -2, are favored. I don't know if there's home field advantage that applies here. Probably not.
I don't really know how you handle that.
Friday night lights in Brazil. I tried to find the Portuguese pronunciation or how you say Friday night lights in Portuguese. And there's two that came up. Like the TV show was Tudo pela Vitória. And I was like, sure, I'm going with that. That one's easier for me to say. So that's what I had. We're going to just kind of point out why we're watching and a thing or two that we're focusing on when these teams are playing, and something that will kick us off into these games. So Charles, when you're watching the Packers and the Eagles, what are you looking at? What's the number one thing that stands out to you? Or are you just keeping track of, or a couple things?
I guess the first thing is something we've talked about all season long or all summer long is Jalen Hurts' first game with Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator versus
finally see it.
And like the thing with the Packers defense is I can't tell like how good I think this unit's going to be as a whole, because I feel like they have some strengths, but they have some pretty low lows. Like the linebacker situation, I wouldn't really be afraid of that. Like even the interior pass rush, I don't know. Like I feel to be good at stopping the run, but I think we're going to learn a lot about, Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore and how that fit is going so far, because, from afar, it looks like you're trying to shove a circle into a square peg. It just doesn't really seem like it fits. And then like for Green Bay, I think this will just be a good test for the defense, because even with the amount of questions we have about the Eagles offense, it's still tough like to defend an offense with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts at times. Like, so you're going to learn a lot about both teams, I think, as they both try to establish themselves as championship contenders.
Yeah, it's a great proving ground game. Like just to start us off, there's going to be week one overreactions, especially a Friday night island game. Are you kidding? The next two nights are gonna be insane with the reactions that come from it, but it's fun. I'm excited to watch these quarterbacks. Of course, quarterbacks with stuff to prove in different ways. Jordan Love, is this real? I think it is, but still, you got to do it. You can't just do it once or twice. Jalen Hurts with a new offensive coordinator, like you mentioned with Kellen Moore, that whole offensive system. By the way, first person I've heard ever maybe say a circle peg into a square hole. I've always said square peg into a round hole.
Oh.
And so that was, I wonder if that's a regional thing. That was new for me. Yeah.
Left,
so
right,
sorry.
Right,
you said that and I really piqued me up, piqued my interest. I was like, what was that? But I'm excited, of course, watch these quarterbacks. But what you mentioned, the Packers defense against the Eagles offense is kind of what I'm more keen on watching, because it's going to be the single high defense with the new defense coordinator. Kellen Moore, he's very kind of traditional with how he packages plays. So it's single high, two high kills. So it's like if you're too high, they run these plays. If it's single high, which is what the Packers run, this is where the box count comes tied in. If it's single high, that usually means more of a loaded box to stop the run as well. That he will kill to more passes or certain types of run, more outside hitting runs. So single high against A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith isn't my favorite way to live. Like that's not like what I want to see, but let's see it. Like maybe the funkiness gets them. Sometimes if you throw a different pitch than they're used to every week, it can work, but they've had time to prep. Kellen Moore is pretty good at prepping. Watch week one last year against the Dolphins defense when they were keeping going toe for toe with the Dolphins offense. So I think in theory, this defense should be better against the run just because they have more bodies naturally there, even if the linebacker play, like you said, is a little but it also could be Eagles offensive line and Saquon against what has been recent history of bad run defense, but hopefully in theory is better against the run, but we'll see how those matchups are on single up outside. So Jair Alexander, or is Jair playing? Yeah, he's playing, right? I don't even remember.
He should be. It's always a question though.
Yeah, right. I know. I should have that injury,
but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're healthy on defense.
Yeah, they're healthy. I think they are. I think they're healthy, pretty healthy. I know they've had some O-line stuff, but yeah, they're healthy. It's no, I know that's a great matchup, man. Like Stokes is finally back in there. Like DB
Stokes on like their receivers is what I'm interested in, because I feel like that could be a total wild card because he's missed so much time.
I know, and he's had flashes, and then it was just he missed time. I know it's good. Yeah, he's another guy. I mean, their DB room, they had all these different guys stepped up, and then they added to it. So that's why they were able to trade guys away in the middle of the season last year. But yeah, this is a great early kind of gauge for these teams as they kind of get into the season. Then we move on to a divisional matchup. We're getting to Sunday now. Getting
Wait,
to
hold on.
tradition.
I got one more thing on
yeah,
Packers.
Yeah.
If I was a Packers fan watching Boston College just beat the absolute crap out of Florida State this weekend, I might be a little bit red flag, because these are the same guys that Jeff Hafley had last year when they weren't doing anything, and they just beat the crap out of a team that even in a diminished state where Florida State is, they still have a lot more talent than Boston College. So did we just get worse? Jump to Hafley? I don't know.
He didn't call offensive plays. So,
no.
O'Brien.
They were a bit more organized than what I saw last year.
No, you're right. And when I signed the preseason, I was like, all right, you always want to just be like, all right, in preseason, you can see what the early install is, if that's what it means by being vanilla. So I was curious if it was that, like, all right, he's back in the NFL. He's not going to just go all single high, And it kind of was. So that's where I was like, all right, this is what you're doing. There's only a couple guys doing it like this. I think some of the blitz stuff's pretty cool, but again, got to see it. And you're going against, again, they'll test Stoutland and they'll test Juergens at center too, and Hurts. You have to, because that's been kind of shown how you attack Hurts. So